Specs, this is for you. I'm gonna explain the blazblue plot. I'm gonna start at the beginning. The beginning is the middle. Big horrible bad thing called the Black Beast shows up, fucks everyone's shit up. 9 heroes kill it. Hooray! It brought with it Seether, which is basically a magic fort. Now everyone can use magic. Double hooray! Anyway, because we're all magic-y now we know about something called the Boundary. The Boundary is kind of the space between reality where a bunch of magic exists. And if you go there, you can rewrite reality. It's a lot like the backyard from Guilty Gear. Anyway, we find out that some sort of ultimate power is buried there. It's called the Azure. You get your hands on the Azure, and you can basically do anything you want. It is the god power. Until we actually obtain that power, the best we can do is grimoires. They are books, although some of them don't take the shape of books, that basically have cool magical power inscribed in them. And that cool magical power controls, like, one aspect of reality. Pop-Tart break. So anyway, there's a grimoire called the Azure Grimoire. It has a very, 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 very small piece of the Azure's power. And it takes a lot of different forms, and it chooses a lot of different masters. And a bunch of people are trying to get their hands on it. Fast forward a bunch. 3 siblings, Ragna, Jin, and Saya. They're all hanging out, being orphans, like orphans do. And then one night, out of fucking nowhere, Jin lights the house on fire. He lights the house on fire, cuts off Ragna's right arm, and supposedly murders Saya. Jin goes crazy, but on the upside, he has a cool-ass ice sword now. And he fucks off and joins the military academy. Meanwhile, he leaves Ragna for dead. Luckily, Rachel comes along, finds him, and hates him, and decides to curse him with immortality. So now he's a half-vampire. He is all angry and shit. And Rachel at the time has possession of the Azure Grimoire. And Ragna comes in contact with it, and it turns into Ragna's right arm. So now he is a half-vampire who is also part magic machine. He vows revenge on Jin, but to do that, he has to be able to fight. So he learns how to fight from one of the original 9 heroes, Jubei, a cat with a sword. So now he is a half-vampire, half-magic machine, magical samurai. Anyway, then the events of blazblue 1 happen, which is a bunch of people fighting a bunch of people to try and get the Azure Grimoire for reasons. But long story short, it ends up with Ragna at a portal to the Boundary, facing off against New 13. New 13 is a half-robotic clone of Saya that is meant to end up falling into the Boundary and pulling out the Azure. And they fight each other, and they both end up falling into the Boundary, and the Azure Grimoire inside Ragna's arm activates and transforms him into the Black Beast, and then sends him back in time. At which point, Berserk Black Beast Ragna causes the whole time loop to begin with. And this happens over countless loops. And that's just how shit be, until someone came along and fucked it all up. And that's gonna have to be for video 2.